rarely met with, even 100,000 billion kalpas, having it to see and listen to, remember and accept. I vow to taste the truth of Tathagata's words.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. It is common when we're talking to someone our own age to compare experiences and to weigh in on what's changing and what challenges we share. Recently, a friend and I were confessing that as we age, we find ourselves much less patient. We threw out some theories about the cause, and we settled on this one. We're more conscious than we used to be that our days are numbered, that we have only so much time left, that we don't want to waste an afternoon putting up with spam calls or a printer that doesn't work, any annoying detail that might not have bothered us much 10 years ago, but now has us reduced to yelling and complaining. My father was known for his patience, and I always thought of the quality as genetic, just something you're born with or not. I thought I was like my father, so when I started noticing my impatience, I was quite concerned and a bit puzzled. It helped to look at Zen texts that shed some light on the subject. Alan Locus is a Zen teacher who was in a terrible plane crash in Myanmar. He was not expected to live, but somehow he survived. The long experience of recovering was a lesson in patience. Several of Locus's writings focus on the nature of patience and its importance in our practice. He says, "What is there about the quality of patience that causes so many of us to respond to the very word with a sense of deficiency? I don't have enough," we say, suggesting that patience is some sort of commodity. The wonderful thing about patience, unlike commodities, is the more we use it, the more we offer it, the more we have. Also, by its nature, patience creates a spaciousness that lets us feel as if we had more time than we've ever had. Patience can alter our everyday experience from one of anxiety to one of peace and plenitude. The current vernacular suggests that we're hardwired a certain way and we can't change. In truth, what happens is we experience an emotion and then too often attached to it as if it were an innate aspect of our being. Some of us label ourselves an angry person. Ignoring the basic nature of sentient beings is more likely compassionate and kind, not angry and unpleasant. Impatience and anger are simply feelings that arise, and like anything that arises, then pass away. Experiencing the repeated presence of impatience most likely indicates a level of fear and unhappiness. It is unpleasant, but it's not a fixed permanent condition. We might want to sit quietly and examine the root causes instead of reacting with our conditioned responses. Locus's advice brought up possibilities for me. I realized that often my impatience was connected to technology, something I have not embraced as readily as my friends and family. So my reactions are likely coming from frustration and fear that I'm letting myself be left behind and might be causing a disconnect with people. Locus says that patience is the direct antithesis of anger, and Thich Nhat Hanh says anger is a cover for fear. So it's possible, and it feels right, that my reactions are connected to aging, but possibly because I don't want to be left out. Locus also says patience is grounded in compassion and nurtured by forgiveness. Dawn Scott, who taught a series on the steadying power of patience, calls it a quality of the heart that is integral in the awakening process. The heart relaxes into whatever arises and meets it with little or no reactivity. One way of articulating awakening is to think of it as a heart mind that is free of irritation, greed, the erosive nature of aversion, and the life-denying quality of delusion. Scott continues, I want to talk about what patience is not. Patience is not gritting our teeth and white-knuckling it through some difficulty or challenge, some unpleasant or painful experience, or some injustice. White-knuckling it, gritting our teeth, is just trying to survive. Sometimes it's just waiting with aversion to the current moment while holding out hope for a better future. Complete patience helps the heart to mature into non-reactivity, and it comes into its full maturity through being animated by the wish to alleviate suffering and to uproot greed, aversion, and delusion. In his Dharma talk, The Path of Patience, Dzigar Kongtrul Rinpoche tells us, if we look at our lives, we already have a certain amount of patience. We can bear many difficult situations quite well. We all have to endure minor illnesses. We have to deal with weather we don't like. We put up with mosquitoes and mice and creatures that cause us minor trouble. Rather than constantly trying to eliminate small irritations from our lives, we can use them as a basis for developing more patience. Emphasizing comfort over practice makes us weaker. There's no such thing as a life free from struggle. It's interesting that it's easier to be patient with things and beings that cannot be held responsible, like weather and infants. We should notice that it's easier to muster our tolerance toward people we want to please or impress, such as those we find attractive or our superiors at work. Using these easier situations as a training ground, we can extend our patience to people who tend to provoke our anger more strongly. Dinan Katagiri offers a final observation in The Light That Shines Through Infinity. The human world is sometimes called the Saha world. Saha is a Sanskrit word meaning patience. Even though life in the human world is messy, we always have an opportunity to practice patience there. The important thing is not to be in a hurry. If you don't understand something, be humble, be modest, just walk calmly, step by step. When you rush, you become irritated and angry. Every day, every moment, your human experience is different. So naturally, there are many moments to experience practicing patience. Someday, right in the middle of your messy human life, in spite of your ignorance, you will touch something deep, the core of human life. You don't know what it is intellectually, but you realize the peaceful patience found deep in the life of the whole universe. At that time, you experience the vastness of your human existence, and your life really blooms. Everything in human life is up and down. There is no way to escape this up and down life. So I think the real practice of patience is to do small things every day with great hope, putting seed in the desert, regardless of whether or not it will grow. That's all I can do. Then I can take care of my up and down life. Thank you.
Page 12 or 19 online.
Made aware of this, penetrating to each thing in all places, so that we in every sentient being together can realize the Buddha way. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Desires are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha's way is unsurpassable.